Hello, welcome to another episode.
Hey guys.
So this episode we're going to go through a little bit more about why we're travelling on the road full time. People who, like friends and family who know us really well, know there's a tiny little bit more to why we've been on the road. We're also going to go over our budget and what we live on to travel full time on the road. Depending on how much we go on or not, we may be able to show a couple little extra tips or hacks that we've come across. And Chris's cooking time seems to have been a hit, so we might, again depending on how much we go on, we might be able to add a little bit of a Chris's cooking time. So okay, so there is an extra reason why we decided to start travelling full-time on the road and live in a caravan full-time. So just have to take you back a little bit to originally 2019. We were both working and I basically had an incident at work. I won't go into any details about who I worked for or anything like that, but basically it was an incident where my life was threatened, and it was seriously threatened, and it was a very traumatizing event. Anyway, fast forward to 2020, where I had tried to cope with that situation for a very long period of time. Basically wasn't dealt with appropriately, and I could no longer work. It had affected my mental health. So I've officially been diagnosed with complex PTSD, major anxiety and major depression. Now at that time was also when COVID hit, and we were living in Melbourne. We had nearly 2 years of lockdowns, but on top of that, because the incident that involved a particular person, that person lived in the same area as we did, and I had developed a extreme fear of going outside. So I basically developed agoraphobia and didn't leave our house for nearly 2 years. And it had also, during that time, my mental health had gotten so bad where I had placed myself at risk and ended up in hospital for, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, 3
about
months.
3 months. So I was in a really bad way. And it got to the stage where my health professionals said it was no longer safe for me to be home by myself. So Chris had to also give up his full-time job to become my full-time carer, which he is still today. So in the end, it was my healthcare team that suggested, and during lockdown we had started watching YouTube videos, as I think half the world did, and we started watching YouTubers who were travelling Australia full-time, and I was talking to one of my healthcare team about this, and they suggested that, is that something that you think you could do? Because I needed to get back to nature. I needed to get outside. I hadn't been outside for such a long time, and I was just going to get worse and never ever improve my mental health. So we discussed it, and I suggested this to Chris, and who would also... Short discussion. And
It didn't take much to convince me.
yeah, Chris was fully on board, and that kind of brought a new lease of life on me.
Gave you more purpose and something to focus on.
That's right. And yes, so we gave ourselves 2 months to
I still can't believe it was only 2 months.
I know, but in that time, we did have we were basically snowballing financially because we'd gone from 2 full-time jobs to basically 3/4 of one income, which is what is the equivalent of what I receive in payments. And Chris, as my carer, only gets the carer's allowance. So I'll go into the budget later, but yeah, we don't have a huge income to go by. But that's basically, in a nutshell, why, an extra why of why we're on the road. It has helped tremendously. It's not to say that, I mean, there's no magic fix. There's things that will trigger me, and panic attacks and anxiety and things that I just don't know that's going to trigger it. And that's another reason why we haven't posted anything for a few weeks now, is because I've been having a little bit of a hard time in the last few weeks with some triggers, but it was more than one trigger at a time, like multiple triggers at a time, that I just wasn't handling things very well. So Chris has been my wonderful carer and supporting. Okay, so the next topic that we are going to cover, I'm sorry if this is a bit bumpy, we're on a dirt road at the moment, is people who had watched our earliest videos would have noticed that we were originally travelling with our dogs. Those dogs were with me every single day when I was unwell at home, and they were our babies. And unfortunately, because we were Metro Melbourne, and we had the most severe lockdowns in Victoria, where often we couldn't go, like Chris couldn't go further than 5 kilometres to go to the supermarket to get food. So we weren't, and I wasn't going outside at all, so the dogs weren't being socialised or taken outside because of this situation. And when we went on the road for the first time, we thought that they would calm down and they wouldn't react to everything after a little while. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, no matter what we tried, and they would just bark at everything, and their barks, the two of them together, were just horrendously loud, and it was getting my anxiety to the point that if I didn't do something, or if we didn't do something about it, I would have ended up extremely unwell and possibly in hospital again, and we could not do that. So we had to make...
Plus, we were getting complaints.
We're getting complaints, yeah.
Which is fair enough. Hank, the black lab, he was next level loud when he barked. It's just like... Oh,
you would hurt his own ears.
His own ears, yeah.
When he was barking. So, and it actually had started also to affect Chris's mental health. He was also starting to get anxiety from it. So we had to make the extremely difficult decision to have them rehomed, which we did. It was the hardest thing that we had done, and you would have noticed that we didn't say anything about it because it was just too hard to talk about at the time. It's been a little while now. It's still extremely difficult for us, but we did want to cover that.
None of our family could take them because they were two big dogs. They all had dogs, but they were all small dogs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Spot the Dalmatian here was very, very, very aggressive towards other dogs. So
yeah. He was all right with Hank, but any other dogs, he just was not good. So yeah, that is what happened to them. So we just thought we'd cover that because a few people have asked over the time, like, what happened to your dogs. So we thought we'd cover that while we're sort of getting into the deep and meaningfuls here today in this episode. We'll try and get a bit lighter further on in the episode, but yeah, that's that covered, I guess. We just want to have a little chat about house sits. So we did a house sit when we were in Darwin.
Bloody awesome.
That was the best house sit ever. We were so lucky. Shout out to Carolyn and Paul, you know who you are. I'm not sure if you watch us or not, but if you do, hi. Yeah, so our tips for house sits, from our experiences, we do have our second experience that didn't quite go as planned. Our recommendation is you definitely need to meet the people before the planned house sit.
Have a look at the house.
But yeah, ensure you look at the house. If you're will be pet sitting as well, meet the pets and have a full discussion about what is expected of you when the owners are away.
Yep.
Also, this is not our experience, but what I have read, some people have experienced difficulties with security cameras.
Yes.
Security cameras outside the houses I have no problems with. I mean, the one in Darwin, they had security cameras, that's fine, I mean, it's for your safety, but some have internal security cameras and haven't been told that they were going to be on while house sitting. So that's a questionable invasion of privacy, maybe? I don't know. But
if they have them, they have to notify you that they are there.
Yeah,
or have
that's
signage
right.
up saying that you may be videoed whilst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to put it out there that does happen, and just to be aware of. But definitely you need to meet the owners and see the house and or pets that you may be sitting beforehand, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, and they fully explain what you are expected to do while they are away. Then there's no confusion. And that's great.
Which happened in Darwin, which was fantastic.
We met up with them
fantastic.
the week before it was due to happen, and then they actually invited us to come and stay the week beforehand, which worked out well. Now the one that we were just about to do,
not so much.
No, the couple didn't work. Really awkward. But anyway, we have moved on. Just before leaving the York Peninsula for the final time, we took a drive to Warralty Beach to see what the fuss was about, because we'd seen it on YouTube a lot. We could not believe the amount of campers, caravans, tents, everything, you name it, that was camping there. And we were only 1 month from winter. It was unbelievable. There was probably at least 50 different campers there, and we were very surprised. So this is the footage we got from there.
Welcome back, boys. We've changed locations. We're now back in the caravan. Come back from our drive. It is the next day, so it's a bit of a miserable day outside. So we'll cover our budget. Gives us something to do, and a bit more film in the can. So Tracy's got down in front of me what we spend. This is in our circumstances. Overall, what we spend weekly is around the $800 mark. People will spend more, people will spend less. People say, how the hell are we doing it for just $800? Well, we haven't got a lot of income anyway, but $800 is what we, in our circumstances, spend a week.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's average, and depending on distances that we have to travel, like if we're moving. But it's been quite good in South Australia because the distance between each time we've had to move hasn't been too great, so we were able to spend less on fuel, which means we can put a little bit more into the food budget or something like that. So
we can break that down a little bit. Where have we got? Weekly, for the last... Well, since we've been, since just before Christmas when we got to Streaky Bay. So weekly our fuel has only been $150 a week. That's pretty good for a Y62 V8. Generally we'll sit for a week somewhere or longer. Streaky will be there for 3 weeks, so you're not towing the caravan all the time. But even when we are moving, you're not moving hundreds and hundreds of kilometres. It's pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
Food, we're averaging around about $200 a week.
And we try to, because we don't have a huge amount to spend in our budget, we try and make once a week a special night that we either buy some takeaway, or if we can go out for dinner or something, just like date night for us. And that's our little special thing, because we don't really, like you've seen if you've watched our videos, we don't really spend much money on doing the touristy things and attractions, because we just don't have the money, which is fine. But our little thing,
if we choose to, like when we went on the horse and cart,
like
things like that, things
$10
that we wanted
a head
to do,
and things like that.
Not a great deal, but
we
got better things to spend money on, I suppose. But anyway, where are we at? So, and our accommodation now, depending on where we are, what time of the year it is,
exactly.
Our accommodation, we are budgeting for around about $240 to $250 a week. If we're free camp or low cost camp, obviously that's a lot less. Where we are at the moment here in Saddlewood, it's only $25 a night, power and water. We're at a what do you call it?
It's a caravan and recreational park.
Local oval.
Community run.
So it's
but we've
awesome.
got all the facilities here, toilet, showers, everything.
Good water.
We score places like this. It's a bonus.
And other times, if it's really going to be looking like during the summer months when it's really, really hot, we would generally stay in a caravan park. Try to choose one with a pool if it wasn't too expensive, but generally try to stay in caravan parks maximum $40 a night. If that, we try to average it around 30, 35. Saying that, when we've been free camp, we have done a couple of free camps up north, Mary Kathleen, Camel Wheel. Totally off grid, there was no cost associated with that whatsoever. So accommodation that will vary week to week, but we budget for about $240 to $250 maximum. Then you still got your, like everyone's monthlies, you still got your phone, your internet, which in our case is Starlink, your car and caravan insurance, which we pay monthly.
We pay monthly. It's the only way we can afford to do that.
And our website, there's a small monthly fee for that. Keep that in, doesn't matter. You've also got to factor in car and caravan servicing, how often you service caravan and your car, depends on the car you got. That's also got to be factored into your budget as well. That will vary from location to location as well, depending on who's around and where you can get it serviced at. So that one's a little bit harder to budget to, but you've got to make sure and be mindful that you have enough money to keep your vehicles and caravan service as well. Quarterly, we pay our vehicle rego quarterly. Yearly, then you still got your standard regos, caravan, I should say. We pay that yearly. We belong to the Caravan Motorhome Camping Association. That's $44 a year after the first year.
And we need that for our insurance because we're KT insurance, and you have to be a member of the CMCA to get that insurance. So, But it's also a bonus when you stay at a CMCA park.
They have low-cost camps scattered around Australia. You have to be self-contained to stay in there, but they have dump points on site and potable water, and generally potable water that you can filter from but not hook up to. yeah, we have maintain ambulance cover. That's a yearly fee.
Definitely need to have ambulance cover because you never know what's going to happen, and it's Australia wide. You always have to check that you've got the Australia wide version when you're on the road full time.
Yep, and top range roadside assist through with RACV. So basically, all that adds up.
Yeah, pretty much it averages. When we average out the yearly, quarterly, all that to weekly, it averages about $800 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's helped anybody if you're looking at budgeting, but look, this is our circumstances, and everyone is so different. You know, some people free camp more often than we do. Yeah. It's everybody's slightly different, but yeah.
Okay, on another note, I don't know what that line coming down the middle of the screen. Okay, take 2. On another note, we are looking to upgrade our caravan. To that extent, we actually have put it on caravan and camping sales. So, if you know of anyone who may be in the market for a 19'6" semi-off-road caravan, 2021 Great Ozzy Gravity Aluminium Series.
Yes. So the reason why we're doing that is after we did our 12-month update episode, and I had sat down and thought about the question, what would you change? Well, ever since I described that perfect van that I would like, I can't get that out of my head, and that's what we're going to try and get to, just a little bit more space to be a little bit more comfortable when we're on the road full time.
It might take us 10 or 12 months to do it, but...
Yeah, that's right. And look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this caravan whatsoever. It has been great since we've had it. It's just been nice to have a little bit more space, that's all. I have recently started up a bit of my crafting that I used to do again, and need a little bit more space to do that. So, yeah. If you'll be able to look it up on Caravan and Camper Sales. I'll put it on a couple of sites on Facebook as well. I can't remember the name of the groups on top of my head, but I'm sure you could find it if you were looking.
Yeah, so, or if you want to know anything more, just drop them a comment down below, and we'll get back to you.
Onto our Facebook page and you can send us a DM. We'll be happy to respond.
That's only going to happen if we sell the van. Obviously, we have to sell this one to move into another one, and but that's what we have plans to change, if possible.
Who knows? You've got a dream.
It happens. Yeah.
That's right. All right. Okay. Yeah, hope that's helped, and we will get into a Chris's cooking time, I think, because that's been a hit. See you next time.
Back to another Chris Tries Cooking episode. Today we're going to be trying to do a marshmallow brownie slice. I did cook this back when we had a house, but it was cooked in an oven. I'm going to try and do it in an air fryer, and I'm going to have to break it up into 2 batches because obviously the air fryer is not as big. So basically what we have here already prepped on the table, we have a cup of butter at room temperature, 2 cups of sugar, 1/3 of a cup of cocoa, sorry, that's a 1/3 of the cup of cocoa, 4 eggs, 1.5 cups of flour, just ordinary flour. My salt's missing. No, it isn't. Here it is here. 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and we have some store-bought marshmallows. That's the. Okay, so what we're going to do? We're going to start. Don't have a mixing bowl, so we're using what we got. We've got a silicone saucepan, but that's okay. So in that, we're going to start off with our softened butter. Put that in. Our sugar. And our cocoa. So we're going to mix that together till they're combined. So it'll take a little bit because the butter's probably could have been a bit softer, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, after a little bit, we've got our butter, sugar and cocoa combined. It's well combined. So now we're going to add 4 eggs. You don't have to add these one at a time. Got 4 eggs straight in. Now we've got to mix till all the egg has been combined. Okay, we've given that a good mix till it becomes smooth. No eggs are showing, they're all combined. So now, basically, we just add the rest of the base mix, which is your flour, your sugar and your vanilla. Just put it all in at once. You don't need to go. Flour, some salt, and our vanilla. And give it a good mix until it's all combined. And get it everywhere, including me. Okay, it's all combined now. It's all mixed up well. You're not cooking unless you get dirty, by the way. I think I got a little bit on me, but anyway. So now we going to be using our Ninja air fryer, which has, our one has bake setting, so we're going to use the bake setting on this one. We're going to put the mixture, in a we're going to use alfoil trays. Just grease them up a bit of spray or a bit of butter, pour the mixture in. Don't go all the way to the top because you need to put the marshmallow on a little bit later, then a thin layer of chocolate. So line some grease-proof trays or a tray if you're going to put it in an oven. Bake it for 20 to 25 minutes at 180. Then take it out and we'll come back to you when we get to that stage. Okay, we've got them into our 2 greased up trays. So just spread it out. Leave a little bit of thickness because we're going to add a marshmallow layer to that. Then a little bit of chocolate at the end of it once it's all cooled down. So now we'll put one at a time into our Ninja, and we'll come back when the first one's out. While you're waiting, this is the best part. You give the mixing bowl to the kids.
Sprung. Best part. Definitely. That's why you cook. Yum.
So our first one's in the oven, the air fryer, which is on bake. Our second one is there waiting to go in. And when we get the first one done, ready for the marshmallow, we'll come back to you. See you shortly. Okay, so it's been 25 minutes and that's what it looks like so far. And we're going to use our very technical get her out of the tools so I don't get burnt. We'll let that cool for just a little bit, then we're going to put some marshmallows. What we're using is Pascal marshmallows. I think they might be a little bit high for my application because I tend to be heavy-handed on the mix. So what I've done is I've cut them in half, and we'll spread those out across the top. So we've got our marshmallows covered on the top. Just cover it as best you can. Now this is going to go back into the oven for no more than 3 minutes. You don't want them to melt fully, but you do want them to melt a little bit. So if you go too far, they will go crunchy. If you like crunchy, that's fine, but we want to melt them a little bit so they spread out a little bit, but not burn. And keep an eye on it. Once you think it's to the right consistency that you like, we'll take it out, let it cool completely. We'll mix up the icing, put the icing on, ready to cut up and eat. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes and this is to the consistency I like. So it's still springy. It hasn't, you see how they spread out a little bit, and just maybe you see a little bit of the browning. Again, using my technical hot thing, get around it. Lift that out. Now you want to put that aside and let it cool completely. If you try and put the icing on the top, obviously it's going to turn to water. So let it cool. While you let it cool, we'll get onto the icing and we'll get that mixed up, ready to go on. But in the meantime, we'll put our second batch in. Away we go. Okay, so while we're waiting for the first one to cool down and the second one to cook, we're going to mix up our icing mixture. It's got 3 cups of icing sugar, a half cup of butter, some vanilla, cocoa and milk, and the correct amounts will be in the description because I can't remember now because my memory is shot. So we'll start off, the sugar's already in the bowl, so we'll put some milk, cocoa and the vanilla. So we've got our first lots of ingredients in. We're going to add the butter now. Make sure it's soft. It has to be at room temperature, or else it ain't going to work. Well, it will, but it will take a long time. So now we're just going to work the butter into the icing sugar and the cocoa and all that, so until it gets a nice smooth creamy consistency. Okay, so after a bit of elbow grease and patience, this is what you get for your icing. The first one is now cool to the touch, and now it's just a matter of placing on and spooning out. One advantage also of using the metal trays, take your set of kitchen shears, scissors, cut the corners, fold down, it's easier to get out. So now that we've got those cut, fold the sides down and we'll give Tracy a taste test. That much? That much? 3s or 2s?
3s.
3s? In bits. There we go. That's what it's like on the inside. Nice and fudgy.
Yum.
I'll take that.
Cannibals, the
And-
guinea pig. Alright. Oh, nice.
What's it like on the inside? Marshmallowy, yep.
Oh, that's nice.
It's very rich, so yeah, small portions are probably the best.
There's enough sugar in here for a diabetic
So,
coma.
what do you think? So that's the marshmallow fudge brownie in a air fryer that can bake. You can probably do it in an air fryer that can't bake, but you just make sure your temperature's the same. So yeah, keeps in the fridge and enjoy.
And don't forget, we have just set up a brand new website, so I'll actually add the recipe to a page on the websites and all the recipes that we've done so far.
Links will be in the description.
Yeah, links. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll add the link to the description. I don't know how to put a thingy up the top of the screen.
Read in the description below.
Yeah, that's right.
So basically it's just Google Aussie Encounters.
Or www.aussieencounters.com. But
it'll take you to our website and you'll see it in our blog section. So, okay guys.
Alright.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.